Say yes to new beginnings.
Yes.
Say yes to new standards of excellence.
Yes.
Say yes to engaging reportage with a difference.
Yes.
Introducing Yes International Magazine. The time to say yes to your dreams and aspirations is here.
Now, from being a member of the Lagos State House of Assembly, you rose to become the National Legal Advisor to the ruling All Progressive Congress until months back, when you relinquished that position. What exactly does that role entail?
No, like President Buhari would say when we're in office, he says that is the Attorney General of the party. You are the custodian of the constitution of the party. You are the custodian of the constitution. You are, as the name says, the legal advisor. You are the one that has a responsibility to make sure the party is run strictly and in accordance with not just the constitution, the laws of the land, from the Electoral Act to the constitution and all the laws. So you are like the engine room of the party. You advise all offices on the law. You are the problem solver for the party. So it was a huge responsibility, and while there, we contributed our little bit to make it a better run office.
Now, as the National Legal Advisor of APC, what would you describe as your greatest achievement in that office?
My greatest achievement in that office was to make it a law office. When I resumed, I saw what I made on ground, and I resolved, and I called the staff of the legal department, the secretarial staff, that look, I have come here for us to run a law office. The office of the Attorney General of any state or the country is a law office. This is a law office and not a transit office. So we must practice law. So the first thing I did was remodel my office to look like a law office. Then make sure we run it as I run my law firm. Wow, all the commercial end of it. So that is the greatest achievement, and I think with all sense of modesty, it speaks for itself. Those who encountered us attested to that. We have got a lot of commendation from, from lawyers, from party men, from disputants, and to the glory of God, the legacy is there, and I'm sure it will remain for a long time to come.
Interesting. Now, you recently got elevated, into the ranks of the senior advocates of Nigeria. How does that make you feel?
How does it make you feel?
Yes.
In one word, fulfilled as a lawyer.
All right. I'd like to find out from you. Yeah. The first time your name was announced that you had made the list of those shortlisted to be put into that. What was the first thing you did when you saw your name as one of those to be inducted in quotes? into that exclusive league or club, or what was the first thing you did?
The first thing is, thank God, prayers answered, my hard work recognized. Because to be a senior advocate is not a tea party.
I like that.
No, it's not a tea party. It's not. I'll tell you in brief. To be a senior advocate, you ought to have been a minimum number of years as a practicing lawyer. It is only for those advocates, those who are courtroom lawyers, and some slots for the academics. And for the academics, you must also have contributed greatly to the development of the law. Your publications, books, articles, how you have influenced the law, all put together. To be a senior advocate, you need to have a certain minimum number of cases. 20 in the high courts within a time frame. It's not forever. Certain number in the Court of Appeal and certain number in the Supreme Court. So for you to even be considered at all, you must have practiced your law through all the hierarchies of the superior courts. Then you must have a minimum level of practice. I think minimum of 5 counsel. You must have a minimum standard of equipment in the office. You must have a defined minimum quality of legal resources from your library through the equipment and what have you. Then you must also have strong recommendations both from the bar and the bench. You want to scale that first minimum filter, and that also includes you must be known to be a good taxpayer, a good citizen. You cannot afford to have had disciplinary issues in the bar or have issues with the law. Then, after you scale through that first filter, they inspect your chambers. Then you now go for the qualification interview. So for even 70 of us to have been appointed, try to imagine how many applied, how many scaled the first filter, second filter, chambers inspection, interview, and recommendation. Recommendation comes from within both the ranks of the courts at every level. Every judge, before whom you have done a matter in the High Court, must attest to your industry or the quality of your work. Judges of the Supreme Court and Court of Appeal must attest to your suitability. And don't also forget, these names are published in the newspaper for objection. So even members of the public must have confidence in you. So if your name is published, and some people write and say this is not a fit and proper person. So to have scaled all of those hurdles, so for you now to see your name first shortlisted among those to even be interviewed, sigh of relief, you give thanks. Then after the interview, and on the day of the interview, you don't go home and get your results. Once the interview is being concluded, you just go back and within hours, the names are announced. In fact, it was a friend from somewhere who called me to congratulate me, and I said, he said, you have been appointed the senior advocate of Nigeria. I said, where did you get that from? I said, but they are still at the meeting. But from the meeting, they have released their list. That is how the integrity that is attached to that process. So it's not what they will say after the interview, they will say, make una go come, we go get back. The moment they have the meetings and announce the results. And I must tell you, the standards are extremely high.
Wow.
The standard. There's a marking scheme. So it's a score from 100%. And imagine a situation where the cutoff is about 80%. So, when people say, oh, senior advocate is even if it doesn't say it is political, it is that, even if it is so, you must meet that minimum qualification.
Wow.
That minimum qualification is for you to even apply at all. Many want to be, but they cannot even apply. I mean, it took us a while to apply because we need to meet that minimum qualification.
Wow, interesting. Now, how many times did you apply before eventually you were selected or you were given the?
My checkered history, 2004 through 2006 or thereabout, we gave it a shot. But 2007, politics took me away. I was a member of the House for a couple of 4 years. By the time I was, like I said, the cases you apply with must show that you are recent. They must be recent cases. By the time I spent my 4 years, my case of 3 years, of course, as a member of the House, I could not practice law. So that expired. By the time I came out in 2011, I had to start the process all over again. And you know what it is for you to run a case from the High Court to the Supreme Court? They even put one in the High Court. But to the glory of God, by the time I was applying, I was able to throw 27 High Court cases contested. I was able to throw in at least 10 Court of Appeal and about 10 Supreme Court. Even though I needed 4 and 6, but I mean, it's better to be very, very and almost overqualified than to be found wanting at all. So it was a lot of hard work over that period to get these qualifications together.
Wow. So what will change about you now that you have become a senior advocate of Nigeria?
It comes with a lot of responsibilities. A lot of it. First, you are a bar leader. The society expects a certain basic minimum from you. There are things I say now. People will say, in fact, sometimes you're in an argument, and when you say want to express an opinion, you hear, let's listen to the senior advocate. Because you no longer have a name. When you express certain kinds of opinion, you hear the senior advocate is talking like this. So expectations are high. You are a bad leader, you are a societal leader, expectations are high. Your conduct in and out of the bar is public. Your carriage, your dressing, your presentation. In fact, it almost changes the totality of your life. Almost the totality of it. Things that I would ordinarily do and get away with 2-3 years ago, I no longer can. Because that has become the focus. I mean, here you have introduced me as, introducing me Babatunde to Ogala, senior advocate of Nigeria was what you said. You even say so that is the responsibility. That is not my selling point. When the clients come, they are coming to you because they believe you are representative of the law. So it means more hard work. You know the courts, if you are not ready, the judge will possibly tell you, senior counsel, the juniors are watching you. Yes. Because I tell you, when as young lawyers back then, when we go to courts in the 80s and early 90s, when we go to court and when we draw our matters, and we hear Timmy Williams is in one court, or a GOK Ajayi, or the Chukura, Kenny de Shofola, GOK Ajayi, and the rest of them are today. Abayomi Shukweson, Chief Onofoko. When you hear that those persons were in court, you finish your matter rather than going to the office. You go and watch them. The way you watch cinema. So today, I believe my presence in court, or indeed the presence of any senior advocate, all the juniors in court are watching you. The judge is hearing you have become not just an advocate, you're also a teacher. Because you're teaching the younger ones. Your comportment, your delivery, your knowledge, your articulation, your dressing. You can no longer go to court with your shoe unshined. You cannot go with your beach rumpled. You know, your dressing, everything about you is changed. The expectations are higher because you are now the leaders of the bar. The juniors are watching. Your colleagues are watching. The public is watching. The judges are watching. So you become a gold fish the moment you put on that thing. So it comes with a lot of responsibility, like I said.
Wow. Well, so what are the advantages of being a senior advocate of Nigeria? I mean, a whole lot of lawyers aspire to that status or position. What are the advantages?
But it's a privilege. Of course, it comes with advantages and responsibilities. Part of the advantage is that's why I say you are a bar leader. In courts, you have a preeminent position. You can measure your case ahead of all others. So it simply means when you are in court, well, time saving sometimes, but that is also a responsibility. It's also a responsibility because the man in a full court and the judge sits and says you should measure your case first. You are now the focus. You are the cinema for every other person. You are the cinema. When you are the last, nobody sees you. Everybody would have left. But in this case, you are the cinema for everybody to watch. So he has his own privileges, I will call it. Because being a good lawyer, being a senior advocate does not make you the best lawyer. It only means you are seen to be good enough to be elevated.
Wow. Now, what distinguishes Babatunde Ogala, SAN, as a lawyer?
What distinguishes me?
Yes.
Huh? I think it's you that can tell you. Because I still try to be who I was. I don't think anything has changed, other than, like I noted, the responsibilities and the focus on one. Other than that, I don't know what has changed, other than the societal expectations.
All right.
And the expectations of the bar and indeed the profession.
All right. Now, who is your favorite Nigerian lawyer and why? One person.
Tall order.
Thank you. One person, just one person, and why?
Living and dead, I believe.
Living and dead, yes.
As if that's the corner you have got. You are putting. My favorite Nigerian lawyer, I'm always going to say Babatunde Ogala. Because that's a very tight corner. Because there are quite a lot that I look. I used to look up to stuff. J.O.K. Ajayi, do I say? Chief Williams. There are quite a few. I can't really place my hand on one. Because like I said, in being a lawyer, I didn't look up to anybody to aspire to be a lawyer. But I learned from a lot of masters. Alhaji Femi Okunu was my principal. I learned a lot from his chambers. Olake learned a lot. And even my seniors in chambers at that time, the Larry Litujis, the Sadiq Karims, yeah, my seniors in chambers, there were also some fantastic lawyers that led that I have a lot of respect for. Latifa Beni was one. Waliola Nipekun, Yusuf Ali, who gave you the push. In fact, if it might interest you, I mentioned those names because they were inspirations. I mean, these are people who call me, Tunde, what is wrong with you? When are you going to apply? When are you going to apply? We are expecting you. And when I got sick, there are those who also say, oh, thank God at last, long overdue. One other inspiration I had was a day I was in the Supreme Court. And I had a matter after I argued my matter. And the justice of the Supreme Court said, we are expecting you in the Enaba. Those are the people who gave me the kick in the ass, if I called it. They give me the kick. And people like that. So to mention a favorite is tough for me. It's really tough. A lot of them played different roles in different ways. Malaji Okumi would say, young man, take this fight, go and do it, you can do it. I remember when I got to him during my youth service, I had been posted to the army. That's another interesting part of my life. When I left the law school, I wished to be a teacher at that time, to be a law teacher. But behold, I was posted to the Nigerian Army, running camp to be precise. The first week we were there, nothing to do. Second week, nothing, and then somebody said, instead of you people sitting idle in the library or conference room wherever we're sitting, that is the mess. You can be going there. And first day, second day, young men excited. And I said, look, am I going to start my career drinking beer every day? I told myself, let me go and find a place to practice law. I found myself and the first time I was going to appear in law in a matter, they just create a file and say, okay, tomorrow, 2 days of tomorrow, you are going to Onitsha. Onitsha. No. Okay, go and move this application and all. Okay, fine. I took up the challenge. I got to Onitsha High Court. You can imagine a lawyer of 1 year standing at the bar. They call your matter. In fact, my matter was, I think, about 10 or so on the list. But they called it first. A senior advocate, Chimeze Ikeazo, one of the fine advocates this country ever produced, was on the other side. They called the matter. I was interested in a certain matter. And behold, when they called the matter, it was my matter. Oh my God. Won't you go and open up and swallow me? Me against these giants. Eh? I moved my application. I argued it. I was a little bit nervous, frightened, intimidated, all put together. The judge said, young man, go ahead. You are not doing badly. Go ahead. Don't, And the ruling was in my favor.
Wow.
That gave me the confidence to fire out. So by the time I got to Femi Okunu and go, within 3 years at the bar, Alaji will say, okay, young man, he called me young man then, Alaji Femi Okunu. Young man, go and take that file, prepare a brief, you are going to the court of appeal. Initially, you first want to dodge the assignment. Natural instinct to a young man is to want to dodge. But you did the first one, second one, and the confidence grew. Well, the rest they say is history. One can only but thank those giants. I remember we did a matter together where he led me. And on the bench, I was just at the bar, I was just reading through. And I saw a particular authority that determined, I don't want to mention the case, because it's a very popular, controversial, popular political matter. And I brought the authority. The moment I gave him the authority, just the total line of arguments, it just dropped. He brought the totality of the argument and he cited that authority and said, look at this, Lord, this is what this authority says. And that was the end of the case.
Wow. What an interesting story. Now, my learned sake, I'll take one more question because we'll have barely 5 more minutes to go so that I can free you and so that we can also keep to time. God, from all the things you have said, has done so much for you. What more do you want from God?
He has been kind. Wisdom, wisdom, and more wisdom. Long life, good health. And like they will pray, may He continuously guide me on the right paths. God has been kind. God has been kind. He has been kind. Asking to let God bless me according to His wish. Not my doing, it's not my strength. It is His grace. So let Him continue to just grant me that grace.
Wow. 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 I love that. I love that. Thank you so very much, my learned sake, for your time, for your thoughts, and for everything. I really appreciate you. And
Thank
to
you
all the
very much.
wonderful people, yes, and to all the wonderful people who joined us this evening, thanks so much for making our time to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My learned sake, I salute, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.